think we'll call a meeting in order. It's approving our agenda. Anybody want any changes? Anything there?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second. Okay, we've had a motion and a second to approve our agenda. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, how about a motion to approve our board minutes from October 25th?
So no errors, I'll move to approve. I'll second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the board meeting October 25th. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Public comment. Yes, sir.
Very quiet.
We'll be moving on to appointments. 9:15, that's on the consent agenda. Everybody okay with that?
Just a question with regard to number one, that Mark Bennett, this probationary deputy auditor treasurer, is that a new position?
Replace
It's a replacement.
Cat.
Bob, this
I
is,
got it. I
yeah,
understand.
that position is to replace Cat. Cat is
Yeah.
moving over to the recorder's office.
Number three. Is that, we're going to replace with a nurse instead of
A social worker.
the social worker, is that correct, John?
That's correct. Yeah.
That is correct. So our home and community-based services unit in public health is a combination of nurses and social workers, and we are requesting a replacement of resignation that you approved last week to replace that position with a nurse.
And what are the reasons for that?
The building capacity with nursing is something that I think would be a good idea for us. Our nurse numbers have eroded steadily over the last number of years, and having additional nurse capacity during the pandemic would have definitely served us. I don't know that anybody could have staffed their way out of the pandemic, but having more capacity there would have been helpful. Also, different types of things that we do with cases and being able to provide medical types of interventions, things like shots, public health, nursing, education, those types of things. It's helpful to have a balance of nurses and social workers in that unit. And so that's why we decided to move in that direction.
Is there a difference in the budget for that?
There used to be, but when you went to a 9-step grid, the all new staff coming in land where they're banded. So our nurses are banded, like an RN is banded the same as a social worker. A public health nurse is banded 1 step above. But there was a historic adjustment that was made to nurse salaries years before I came.
Right.
So there was quite a distance between them and social workers. New people coming in, though, would come in on the new grid, and they would be paid equivalent to social workers. The only difference would be as if we were to hire a public health nurse, a PHN, versus an RN, that would be 1 pay grade higher.
Do you feel that you'll have successful searches for a candidate for this?
Yeah.
I mean, you're hoping for that, but I mean,
Yeah.
I just for entering at that level, is that gonna be a possibility of a good outcome?
It's something I'm interested to see. I think closing the gap between nurses and social workers was an important thing. And the work you guys have done through negotiation and through the adjustments with salary survey and things like that is important steps in the right direction. It'll be interesting to see if the fact that we're going to be offering those positions at a lower wage than we historically have, will that impact our pool and kind of create the problem that we solved many years ago? I don't know. We'll wait and see. But that's the way we'll recruit it, and it'll give us information. Our pools lately, I think Tess has mentioned this as well. We haven't had really big pools for any of our positions, but fortunately we've had qualified applicants. And that isn't the case with all counties, even as you guys heard at the AMC meeting yesterday, that, some of them, they'll go through 2-3 rounds to get an applicant, or they get to the final candidate and then they don't take the job. We've been fortunate that that hasn't been a big deal yet, but we'll see what happens with this recruitment, and I'm sure I'll be reporting back.
All right. That's all I
Good
got.
questions, though.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second. Okay, we had a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. For more discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? We'll do the action item quick, and then we'll do the closed meeting. Okay with that?
Right, not here. It's pretty self-explanatory.
Yes,
Yeah, he's not able to be here today, but he did send me an email this morning. And it said the township has approved the final, and my recommendation is for the board to approve it, as well as get that portion of the project closed out. This is the final for the rock added to South Ridge Road, is what he said.
I make a motion, we approve the acceptance of the contract.
Second. Okay, we had a motion and a second to approve the Bruin Rock contract. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries.
I'll make a motion that we go into closed session pursuant to Minnesota statute 13D.05 subdivision 1, attorney-client privilege regarding pending litigation.
not what I thought it was gonna be.
Right.
I'll second it.
What, I've got a question, how does this qualify for a closed session?
Because we're in litigation, because we filed a writ cert. We talked about it before, but now we're in it. We're gonna talk about strategy.
Okay,
Strategy. Okay, we had a motion, we haven't had a second yet.
Here's a second.
I second it, yes.
All right, all in favor, say aye. Opposed? Okay, we're in closed session.
All right, we're now in an open session. The board went into closed session. We discussed pending litigation revolving DNR with Minnesota Department of Natural Resources and Houston County regarding their recent denial of a proposed ordinance regarding a no wake zone. And we've come out now into open session, whatever the board wishes to do regarding any act.
I'll make the motion to cease action with Mr. J. Squires to pursue this matter with the DNR with the writing of the writ.
Termination of the Court of Appeals.
Yes.
I'll second it.
Okay. Got a motion. Second.
And, and with that, I feel we should pursue matters with in-house and try to meet with the Harbor Commission and pursue it internally, whether to come up with different language or try to work at a joint venture to try to get something else accomplished on the wake zone.
Okay. Everybody, any more discussion on that? Everybody okay with that motion in a second? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Aye. Passes 4-1.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on. Oh, ain't got much left. Board updates. All right, sorry all. You guys get this email from Collaborative Design, pricing and all that?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah,
It's-
I read through it. I didn't take a copy of it, but I did read through it.
I have one copy if someone wants to look at the price. Just in case.
Looks like the price is 61,710 without the old Missouri jail.
$1,300 something to include it,
1420.
1,420.
1320.
So we originally set aside 50,000 for this, for ARPA money.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, this is an action item, so it's just discussion.
Right.
What are we going to do to come up with the other 11, 13,000?
Probably have to use our fund balance or general fund.
Could come from the fund balance. Well, I think it's something that started, I don't,
Mm-hmm.
I think, finish it now.
Yeah, me too. Okay. We have to put it in as an action item for next
Yeah.
week.
Mhm.
We wanna do that next week, put this down for an action item,
Yes.
please. Everybody can look this over a little bit more.
Mhm.
And then, I don't know, I'd like to discuss, sentence to serve, but we can do that at a workshop too, it's up to you guys, whatever you like to talk. It's- But there's a lot to talk, discuss there, there's a lot of stuff that the guy does, it's county. Courthouse and all along. So if we would drop that STS, who's gonna do all that work? Is there
Right.
any way we could combine with somebody? Like Preston
Another
has
county?
decided to make their deal yet, I guess. Decided to go yet.
Yeah.
So. Maybe down the road, Preston might build a jail, we can keep up with them maybe, or why don't we? It's probably got enough of their own.
Well, they have their own.
That's what Craig had mentioned.
I think a lot of counties are collaborating more and more on different projects. That would be a good discussion for workshop. Part of the budget discussions.
Cause I mean, if we
Mhm.
drop that. It pays his health insurance.
So he mows all the lawns, is that what you're saying? Said?
He does like the fairground, he does the fire building, he's some.
Well, the fairgrounds, isn't he hired by the fair board to do that?
I don't know.
But he does it here too.
Yeah, mows out here, he mows out at fire building. Mows all the historic buildings down there.
I thought we hired,
I don't know, I don't know what we're
I
gonna
thought
do.
we hired Meyer to mow, or maybe not.
Meyer mows the airport. I know that, but not the fairground.
The fairgrounds isn't ours in the first place. The fairgrounds takes care of that. The fair board takes care of the fairground.
So are they paying part of his wages, or I wonder how this works?
I do not know if he has an arrangement with the fairground that they hire him. Or if it's through census to serve. Like we had our meeting this morning with community services and. He and another individual that was part of the census to serve program came and replaced a window in one of the offices. For Karen. said he did a good job. The person that he had with him, who was part of the sentence to serve program,
Mm.
was knowledgeable and helpful, and I don't know if it was a prisoner or if it was a probationary person or what. I don't think he gets any prisoners right now because they won't let him out of jail. So had to be a probationary person. All depends on the sentencing program, though, the way that things are sentenced.
Last one, he was put in petitions for public health.
Mhm.
But at the same time, not to be devil's advocate here, but sentencing has changed a lot. There's not as many sentenced to serve people available. Take the third quarter of this year, there was 120 hours out of the 3 months. They had people available to help. Not that he wasn't doing things, but if you look at the $78,000 that we'd be adding back to the budget, that's also 78. I mean, you could hire that same hires to do the mowing or whatever. From that perspective. We're not gonna act on it today.
No.
Just get some discussion.
Mhm.
And he said that hourly report that he gave us all, not of his hours. That was just sent.
Mhm.
That 120 for the third quarter. That's not his hours. No. He's full time. That was the 120 during the third quarter that he had somebody that was available.
Mhm.
Cause he's, I'm sure on a salary type of thing that hours aren't.
Whatever the pay scale is, that's that.
Well, whoever he gets paid, by, they do this.
Yeah. And the thing of it is, if we decide not to go with STS. The STS officer for Winona County is retiring the 3rd of January, and he could slide into that position as STS officer.
The other day when I talked to him, he didn't think he was gonna try it.
Well, okay. He could,
Yeah,
he
but
could.
he said he didn't.
That's his choice
get it.
as far as that.
He said he was gonna apply for it, but he didn't think.
Well, I was gonna say, it's not an automatic, it'd be an advertised position.
Okay, sense
Well,
about.
it's all different than union if he's a member of the STS organization. I don't.
I would assume it'd be an advertised position.
Again, that's something that. I think that,
Well, we should have a discussion at workshop about it.
Mhm. Gather some more information.
They didn't get that. Guys from the STS, I mean, Greg,
Mhm.
find out if there's any chance that we can find with somebody. Look at our options.
Just so you're aware too, TKDA, I think, is coming at the November work group session. So just so you know, it could be a really long work group session.
Well, I guess those are the two things that we talked about. Yes. We got some stuff to work on in our budget. We'll probably bring some more of that up then. That's what I got for right now. I was at the district meeting yesterday. It was a very good meeting. Learned a lot. Interesting to listen to other counties and what they're doing and how they're doing it, what their levies are. Seemed like their biggest thing was the mental health, public health and stuff like that. All the internet business. Outside of that, we had a really good business, went home. Guess that's all I got.
That's the only meeting I had also with the district meeting.
I had a collaborative meeting with the schools. As far as what's going on with, the collaboration between the schools and what's happening. And they have a grant for a research of mental health in the schools and having better access to mental health services. They're doing a grant study to see what could be done to improve that for one of the school districts in Houston County, and then to see if that's gonna be beneficial for all the school districts. So that's
Spring Grove.
ongoing, that's Spring Grove.
That's the one we heard last week. Oh, with the lead from Spring Grove?
Yeah.
Okay.
So. And then. We had a community services meeting today. Services wasn't there because they are doing a public service announcement recording for the program that's coming up Saturday.
That's Saturday.
And then the Board of Health. Julie, I'll let you elaborate on that. That's all I got.
Yeah, I didn't have any meetings either, except for yesterday's meeting. I was just questioning, I got a question for Carol about. You know, that tribal money we got for 50,000, you didn't apply for that? You did apply for that? Okay. I thought it just showed up, you. like-
No, you have to go.
Yeah, okay, so what, that's what they said yesterday, you had to apply for it, so you get 50,000 this year and 50,000 for next year?
Mhm.
50,000 in 2023.
I thought it was. There's a 22 allocation and a 23 allocation. 50,000 each.
What you
So
probably,
you probably have to apply for the 23 one, I guess.
Mhm.
Just applying for one gets you the other.
Oh, okay. All right. Yep. I just found it confusing why Fillmore County did.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's all I got.
from the public health area or this meeting this morning is the child support, that's the highlight I have, is that we're doing very well for collecting child support. In lieu of situations that we're dealing with, and then another highlight I brought here was. Sometimes when we do budgeting, we could take out 100. How was that again? Some of the things that take out $100 and 75% of it is.
75% of it's funded by the states, who really only 7.5.
Right, so
Mhm.
when we're doing our budgeting, that's one thing that was one of the highlights that I kind of got out of it. The van, you didn't mention that, but the van is in Enterprise's hands right now with the ramp going on it. For vets service, that was good to hear. How long that's gonna take, that's another question, but that was a highlight. I enjoyed that part. But I came up with a couple of questions I've been thinking about for some time, and it kind of came together yesterday. Do we know what Fillmore County status is on the jail? They're just in the bidding process? Or,
From what Bobby explained yesterday, they're going through construction documents and bidding. Well, I think it was just the construction documents to whether, and then from there, they're gonna decide whether to pursue it.
is it is this a wrong time, or would we want to say, hey, we're gonna have space if you are running into a document or a budget problem? I don't know if they've set aside X number of dollars and they say, whoa, going over. Would we help to help us? Is that something, is it? I think it's something to look at, throw in.
It wouldn't hurt to mention it to him again. It has been mentioned to him.
No,
I mentioned it to Dwayne and Mitch
Cause
and
it's
Randy and it wouldn't hurt to mention it again, to reach out to them and say, hey, we're willing to
work with you.
work with you somehow, whether how that ever would work.
Well, that was just, as they were talking, I said, if they're not into the building stage yet or any of that, and they're still in the. Getting their construction ideas together, reach out and let them know. The other thing is something that, last December was my first AMC statewide convention. And of course, when I came on in beginning of 21, or last 21. I didn't go to the December 2020 meeting because COVID and all that, and would it be proper to invite whoever gets elected next week to come to the December meeting, because you'll learn a lot So that first year, you come in with more information. I mean, I'm just saying from my experience, I came in for the first 5, 6 months by Zoom. I didn't get a lot of information until the second half of last year. Now I'm getting, and we all learn every day, but would it be to the benefit of that, whoever comes in next week? Actually in January, but gets elected next week, hey, this is in December. Is that proper? Is that a cost factor to our,
Well, they're officially not sworn in until the 1st of January, but they also have a new training session in January for newly elected commissioners.
and that was done by Zoom for me, and I mean, there's.
Yeah, right, but now it's in person.
Yeah,
Yep, and so that'd be the meeting that they could go to
okay,
learn the ins and outs and being
yeah,
a
okay, like I say, I'm just trying to, whoever is the. Places that Teresa in next year, would you have some help, get them going.
Mhm.
But if that January, I personally didn't get much out of that training in January of last
Yeah.
year.
That was the
Which
Zoom
I'm-
one. wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Mhm.
It's just. Zoom ain't the answer, in my opinion, but that's the way it goes. That's life today.
Yeah.
So,
I
that's-
actually went to the AMC the year I got elected.
Okay.
Before I took office, but I went with the county surveyors.
oh,
Well, that's how you, that's different.
another inside.
I did go to all the different sessions.
Well,
Peter, he told me which sessions I should listen in on, which I would do.
Is Bob and John's balls work for the county?
no, neither. But it just, as I was listening and the more I get to these things that pick up information every time you go. I thought, well, let's get the new ones on as quick as we can. That was just a thought.
Good idea. Don't hurt nothing.
And I think that pretty. Yeah. That's it.
We could give that person the option that this is going on and if they want to pay for it to go. That would be an idea, but I don't think we can pay for them because they're not sworn in.
But I'm just saying too, does AMC allow it? If you're not,
Oh,
like,
they don't.
But AMC's getting paid, they don't,
Yep, exactly right.
they don't care as long as they get the money.
okay, well, it's
Yeah.
just an idea.
Allison, you got anything?
No.
Carol? Anybody else? Closing comments? Anybody got anything for the closing? Well, I guess we have nothing else. I want to make a motion to adjourn.
So move. We got a meeting this afternoon.
Yeah.
3:00.
Motion to adjourn and a second. All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Opposed, motion carries, we're adjourned.